So good evening. Everything is clear? Good. आदित्य दो हाथ उठा रहा है, हैं? बाल कटवा के आया है आज। चलो सारे मेरे मार्क करता हूँ। गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग। So yesterday we discussed about positivism and what are the limitations to positivism. ठीक है? I told you that positivism is an intellectual project to make a science out of sociology. ठीक है? It believes that social structure is fixed. It can be studied through what? Scientific inquiry. And most important limitation of positivism is that positivism doesn't care for human emotions. Okay? All of us are human beings. So the kind of roles we are playing are greatly driven by our emotion or state of mind. Okay? You know, when I'm coming to take your class, you know, my state of mind plays a significant role in defining the quality of lecture. Therefore, teacher is same. But if I am not sitting comfortably, while coming for your class, if an argument with somebody, if I'm coming in a hurry to the class, these factors are going to influence too my role, my performance as a teacher. Positivist will only see that teacher is coming to the class and delivering lecture. So therefore, structure is subjected to continuity. But social structure like classroom, social structure like family is the making of individual behavior. And behavior of the people is not always rule-bound, custom-bound. Their behavior is greatly influenced by different kinds of adjoining factors. Okay? Like whether you have taken food or not, whether room is comfortable or not, whether you are understanding the words I am using in the class or not, whether you had a fight with your parents or not, all these factors will be affecting to your concentration in the class. ठीक है? करण अभी सिर पे हाथ देके बैठा है, ऐसे करके बैठा है, तो इसका सिर में दर्द हो रहा है कि क्या हो रहा है? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So that nobody knows. Therefore, how and why one is sitting like this is greatly driven by different reasons. And positivism tells why you are sitting like this, why you are speaking like this, why you are behaving like this, that is not important. You are a student present in the class. I am a teacher present in the class. You are a Tamil child sitting in the family. So these are important. Therefore, positivism ignores human behavior. It ignores human emotions. It reduces man into object and matter. Okay? So therefore, positivism is criticized by, bolte jao. We have which approach? Non-positivistic approach. Okay? Or post-positivistic approach. Post-positivistic approach, I divided into two types. Okay? One is amending to positivism, other is rejecting to positivism. The approach that is amending to positivism, I gave what a name to that approach, that is Vosstian approach. It tells only data is not important. You have to also go for understanding through interpretation. Therefore, interpretation plus observation combined together make a better understanding. It's supplementing to positivistic method, adding on to positivistic method, then rejecting to positivistic method. Okay? Which method is that? Vosstian method. Then I told you there are anti-positivistic method. इसको मैंने दो भाग किया. Anti-positivistic method, macro analysis and micro analysis. In my macro analysis, I put which theory? Number 1, critical theory. Number 2, postmodern theory. Number 3, feminist approach. So तीनों को मैंने इकट्ठा किया macro approach. Then I went for micro analysis. Interactionism. Offshoot of that is phenomenology. Offshoot of that is primarily what? Ethnomethodology. Then the balance between the two is being developed by structuration theory. ठीक है? आगे समझ में? Now I am discussing with you how is Hostian method is questioning to positivistic method. ठीक है? आराम से सुनो बैठ के, कुछ difficult नहीं है. How is Hostian method offering a critique to positivistic method? Hostian method tells that truth can be explored. Who can understand truth? Okay? Not by what we see. Truth should always be explained in relation to a context. Okay? So we can explore truth only in relation to a specific context. Okay? Hostian method we are discussing, non-positivistic method. Truth must be explored in relation to context. Example there. You see, democracy is present in India. Also, Imran Khan, naam sune ho? He is a democratically elected leader, Prime Minister of Pakistan. Also, we have a democratically elected leader in case of America, Biden Saab. We have also democratically elected leaders present in case of New Zealand and Germany. Do you consider democracies in all these countries are same? Bolo. Positivists will consider that in every democracy, people cast their vote. Okay? Then it will go to the extent of which leader in which democracy has got how much of popular mandate. In a democracy, the party getting majority will be constituting the government. The leader of the majority party will be appointed as the head of the government. So, when I'm looking at democracy in the context of India, I will be finding out, सुनो इसको ध्यान से बैठ के. So when I look at democracy in the context of India, I'll be finding out Indian democracy was a product of nationalist movement in India. Because people of India didn't know what democracy is all about. Because when India got its independence, 90% of the people were illiterate. And democracy was a kind of Western ideology. Masses in case of India didn't know what is democracy. Because for centuries together, they were ruled by the kings, emperors. Hindu kingdom ka time emperor the. During Islam rule, medieval India emperor the. Then British also came. At that time, we were primarily what, a part of empire, colonial empire, British empire. So therefore, Indians didn't have much of knowledge about what is democracy. But Western educated Indians, those who participated in freedom struggle, most of them, they have studied in Britain. And they experienced that in a democracy, how individuals are enjoying freedom and equality. And that freedom and equality is not available to a man or a woman in the context of a colony. So, इसलिए this intelligent intelligentsia, middle class intelligentsia, they fought for democracy. But if you look at French Revolution, it is the masses, those who fought for primarily democracy. It was the win of the masses. But in case of India, Gandhi told people, come forward, go for primarily salt march, salt satyagraha. People followed the direction of Gandhi. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, Gandhi became father of nation. So therefore, in case of India, it is the middle class who dreamt about democracy. And people simply followed the wisdom of middle class. Okay? And these nationalist leaders, they were primarily belonging to caste. Many of them had great commitment to religion. Therefore, when democracy came in India, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Were people democratic? Did they know democratic values? No. So democracy was a middle class agenda that was enforced on the people of India. And subsequently क्या हुआ? When nationalist leaders disappeared from India, Gandhi ji, Nehru, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Patel, when these nationalist leaders, or Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, when these nationalist leaders disappeared from India, then you find out who came into prominence? Caste leaders, religious leaders. Because they knew that masses in case of India are not democratic. Therefore, regional political parties came into prominence. Caste-based political parties came into prominence. From peasant movement political parties came into prominence. Tribal identity political parties came. So therefore, India's democracy is different from democracy in France, democracy in Britain. Therefore, what is a better way of understanding democracy? Through interpretation of history, or considering in every democracy, political parties are there. Elections are conducted. Parties are contesting in election. This is the voters' turnout. This many vote one party has got. Leader of that party has become prime minister. Which understanding is better? Interpretation is better, or statistical data is better way of understanding the truth? Bata. Interpretation can tell how Indian democracy is different from democracy in Britain, democracy in France, democracy in America. Therefore, interpret context, you make a better understanding of reality. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So data is there at its place, but data is not sufficient enough to give you understanding about reality. Therefore, to understand reality better, you must have to go for interpretation of history, interpretation of culture. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Only then you can understand. Understand not? Social processes, social institutions, and the behavior of the people in a better way. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So when positivism looks at facts and considering that facts do speak for itself, Bostian approach tells facts do exist in a context. Therefore, if you separate context from facts, facts will be giving you mechanical explanation about the reality, not the true understanding of reality. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, context is democracy in the context of India. जब context of India का बात मैं करूंगा, I should be going for freedom struggle. I should be going for the context when democracy primarily came into prominence. I should be looking into the context when nationalist leaders are there. Then when these nationalist leaders are disappearing, how localized leaders are making appearance, then caste, kinship, religion, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Poverty, region are becoming the factors for the rise of political groups, political parties. And these factors are influencing to the voting behavior of the people. Tell me, in which democracy you will ever be finding out poverty, unemployment, price rise are not the issues. Issue is primarily you belong to which identity and what identity the other people are carrying. When identity politics prevails over politics of life, then the quality of democracy here is bound to be different from the quality of democracy elsewhere. समझ में आ रहा है? कोई बता रहा हूं, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, to make sociology better, inclusive, we must have to primarily what? Interpret context. Which context? Historical context, economic context, social context. ये context को interpret करके, so we can understand the social reality in a better way. Understanding or not? So this approach is being forwarded by whom? Vostian school. Okay. When I speak about Vostian approach, I'll be bringing to your notice three persons. William Dithe, George Gimel, and Max Weber. Max Weber. Pratik, it will not be contaminating the object of sociology. You are using a very strong word. Sir, is interpretation contaminating the object of sociology? Till now, I am not able to understand what is the object of sociology. Objective rather. Objective of sociology is changing in time and space. आज पढ़ने के बाद समझ में आ जाएगा तुम्हारा. What is objective of sociology? See, if you look at the writings of Dithe, आराम से सुनो, स्ट्रेस बिल्कुल मत लेना. Dithe से पहले और एक चीज बताता हूँ, सुनो. My experiment with truth. क्या ये? एक किताब है. किसका ऑटोबायोग्राफी है? महात्मा गांधी का. ठीक है, सुन लिया मैंने. डिस्कवरी ऑफ इंडिया, नेहरू. अच्छा बताओ मेरे को एक चीज. बाय इंटरप्रेटिंग दिस टू टेक्स्ट्स, फॉरगेट सोशियोलॉजी, बता रहा हूं, ध्यान से सुनो. इफ आई इंटरप्रेट दिस टू टेक्स्ट, can I get to know something about the history of India or not? Yes or no? Without visiting to different temples, places of historical importance, I can still make sense of India by reading these books. Yes or no? Also, if I read Ramayana, Ramayana is a story of what? रामायण में हम क्या देखने मिलता है? अरे बोलो, रामायण में क्या है? हिंदू कल्चर, गुड ओवर बैड, और कुछ बोलो, नोबल किंग. रामायण में आई कैन क्या हो गया ये? रामायण में I'll be finding out 2-3 things. Most important thing that I'm finding out in Ramayana is patriarchy. Father is giving an order to son. Son is primarily complying to it. पापा ने बोल दिए, मैं मेरा वाइफ को बोला था कि भाई whatever she tells that I am going to follow, your mother wants that you should go to forest. जाओगे बेटा? चल दिए. In Ramayana, I find out commodification of woman. Patriarchy once again. If a man is having power, he can kidnap a woman and tell the husband of the woman, if you are more powerful than me, fight war with me and take your wife back. So might is right was present. In Ramayana also, I find out that if you are a ruler, your citizens are questioning to the character of your wife. You have to abandon your wife to keep your citizens in good humor. तुमको राम दिखाई देता है, रावण दिखाई देता है, इंद्रजीत दिखाई देता है, but I read from Ramayana the status of women. Ravan ka hundreds of wives. Wherever he went, he picked up a wife. Therefore, to understand the history of Indian society, I can interpret Ramayana. Good governance, I can get to know from there. Patriarchy, I can get to know from there. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? राजधर्म, I can get to know about there. So many things about Indian culture, Indian value, I can get from the book or not. So book is not a book. Book is the mirror of culture. Book is the mirror of history. So through book, I can understand people and culture. तो इसलिए empirically verifiable observation मेरे को नहीं चाहिए. Understanding or not? So therefore, to understand people, understand culture, we can interpret text. ठीक है? मैं तुमको भेज रहा हूं. You go and see some architectures. Mughal architecture, Mughal potteries, weapons. Through that, you can make some sense of the civilization during medieval Europe. Yes or no? Aini Akbari, Babarnama, ये सारे सुने हो? So reading this text and looking into their architecture, you can get some kind of view about medieval India. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, what you see is fact, but you can be getting a better understanding of reality by interpreting architecture, interpreting primarily culture, interpreting history, interpreting the environment in which people are living. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, combine these two things together. Data you can see, but behind the data, context is present, culture is present, history is present. If you understand that, you can have a better understanding of reality. Yes or no? So therefore, hermeneutical method is primarily giving importance on interpretation of history, interpretation of culture, interpretation of customs, which can be added to empirical data collected by the researcher. So therefore, sociological understanding of reality will be much more inclusive, much more better. आया समझ में? Yes or no? So therefore, context is important to study. Context is important to interpret and understand. ठीक है? William Dithe, he tells that there are three kinds of Bhastiant or hermeneutics. There are three kinds of hermeneutics. Hermeneutics means what? Interpretation. There are three kinds of hermeneutics or three kinds of interpretation. One is we can gather knowledge first by experience. ठीक है? Second, we can gather knowledge through expression. And third, we can gather knowledge through comprehension. ठीक है? Examples you can give, nothing to worry. So we can gather knowledge in three ways. If we are studying reality, we can have understanding about reality in three different ways. And what are these three ways of understanding reality? One is knowledge you are gathering through experience. ठीक है? Now you are gathering knowledge about Waziram Institute through what? Experience. You are sitting, listening to the lecture, taking down the notes, writing answers, copies will be evaluated. Then on the basis of your experience, you primarily get to know about what is happening in Waziram. So knowledge you are gathering through what? Experience. Meaning, a researcher goes to the field, lives with the people, experience about what they are doing and collecting data. Positivistic method. So knowledge we can be gathering through what? Experience. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? As a woman, you are experiencing what are the problems associated with a woman in India. Everyday life, you are experiencing it. A researcher similarly can go and live in a poverty zone and experience. Understand not what is poverty like? Like Karl Marx, he lived in the labor camp. He didn't have a job. He was hungry. So he experienced what is poverty. Therefore, be careful. A man experiencing poverty can be writing a better primarily book on poverty than a man who is imagining poverty and seeing poverty of others. Therefore, Amartya Sen writing on poverty will be primarily based upon facts. And when Marx is writing on poverty, it will be his daily experience. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? A Dalit is experiencing caste. So when Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is writing on caste, that is based upon experience. कौन बोला है? हाँ, सार्थक. When Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is talking about caste, based upon experience. But when British scholars are coming and studying caste, it is based upon facts. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, knowledge can be arrested through what? Experience. Understanding not. And knowledge can be arrested through expression. Expression. What is expression? बोलो, expression क्या है? Knowledge is primarily gathered through expression. What is expression? Expression क्या है? बोलो. बोलो. See, expression you can make. Suppose, you have just visited America and you are coming and telling me about your experience in America. So I'm listening to what you are telling. On the basis of that, I can make sense of American culture. So your primarily expression about America is a sociological treasure to me. So I am not going there. I am not meeting people. I am not talking to them. I don't have first-hand information. But from out of your narratives, I am understanding American society and culture. So expression means account of others, like travelers, missionaries. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So they primarily express their experiences. Another form of expression. बताओ. Asima, बताओ. Another form of expression. How your experience you are expressing. Writing biography, writing autobiography. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? और through primarily, अरे बचपन में बहुत काम किए हो. Street play. Street play is a form of expression. There is a message. Oral accounts, very true. So, these are very important for sociology. Be careful, कुछ बोल रहा हूं. What a researcher is seeing, that is not important. Folk stories are important. Biography is important. Various arts are important. Literature are important. So interpreting them, I can look into, I can understand the culture of the community. They express their mind through art. Therefore, be careful. The art I see or the sculpture I see in the temple is the expression of the minds of others. Dance is also a form of expression. When somebody is dancing, what is a dance? When one is primarily dancing, thinking that one is primarily playing the role of Krishna, Radha. So therefore, their dance form also express that character. Therefore, be careful. Sociological treasure is dance, drama, music, art, sculpture, literature, biography, autobiography, folk stories. You cannot ignore them. They speak a lot. They speak about culture, they speak about primary tradition, they speak about history, they speak about everything related to people. Therefore, interpreting them, I can make sense of reality. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? सो आई कैन से आई कैन मेक सेंस ऑफ इंडिया. अरे बोला एक बार. You quote these examples. So therefore, I can make sense of India through the lens of Mahabharata, through the lens of Ramayana, through the lens of primarily what? Other kinds of Sanskritic text. ये एक ट्रेडिशन है, इंडोलॉजिकल ट्रेडिशन इसको बोलते हैं, पेपर 2 में पढ़ोगे. Understanding or not? Therefore, observation is not sufficient. To understand the reality better, we have to go for different kinds of interpretation. तो दो kind of interpretation हुआ. One is gathering knowledge through what? Your experience. Second, you are gathering knowledge through what? Expression of others, manifested in these forms. And third is comprehension. Comprehension क्या है? Comprehension क्या है? जब दोनों को इकट्ठा कर लोगे, that makes comprehension. दोनों को means what you see as real and the text you are interpreting. Architecture you are interpreting. समझ में आ रहा है कि if these two views are combined together, they give me a comprehensive understanding about people and their context and their culture. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Suppose I am going to a village. I find out in this village 5 different caste groups are present. So the size of the population of the village, distribution of population on the basis of caste, land holding of different caste is based upon what? Based upon what? Experience. Then I interpret their caste literature, caste history. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Caste temples. That is what? Expression. ये दोनों को जब combine करूंगा, I'll be having a better view about caste in that village. समझ में आया कि नहीं? So therefore, be careful. So sociology should be going for a juxtaposition between expression and experience. So experience is based upon what? Scientific method. Expression is going for interpretation. So when scientific method and interpretation are combined together, we can have a better vision about reality. आया समझ में? इसका अंग्रेजी क्या हुआ? Text and context both are important to study reality. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Text and context both are equally important about society. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, to understand Waziram, बोलो, sentence complete करो. Therefore, to understand Waziram, your experience is important, but the expression of others, those who have studied here, that is also equally important. Therefore, their expressions and your experience make that what we are. And comprehension means I'm combining them together and giving a total view or holding a total view about reality. आया समझ में? So this viewpoint is given by whom? Dithe. ठीक है? Second comes George Gimel. Gimel बोलते हैं knowledge is subjective. Knowledge is subjective. मतलब क्या हुआ? Knowledge is subjective. Therefore, it is very, very difficult to understand a given kind of reality in an objective way. Meaning क्या होता? Knowledge about everything is subjective. ठीक है? Therefore, applying scientific knowledge, we cannot understand reality. Knowledge is subjective means what? अरे बोलो इतना क्यों परेशान हो रहे हो? Knowledge is subjective. Knowledge is subjective in this sense. Suppose you are coming to meet me to take a testimonial from me. Sir, you have taught me, so I am applying abroad. So give me primarily a testimonial. In testimonial, what I should write? that she is a regular student, very attentive, participating in the classroom discussions, taking part in different extracurricular activities. ये सारे लिख दिया. And she bears a good moral character. I do not know anything primarily what negative about her. So if you need any further information, you can be writing me in this particular mail. So when I'm saying you are intelligent, you are hardworking, you are dedicated, you are conscientious, you are goal oriented, ये सारे क्या है? Objective evaluation of you or subjective evaluation of you? अरे ये सारे सब्जेक्टिव इवैल्यूएशन है कि ऑब्जेक्टिव इवैल्यूएशन है? ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या हुआ? She has got 6.8 out of 10 point scale. One has got this grade of 6.8. ये है ऑब्जेक्टिव. बट मैं क्या लिख रहा हूं? इंटेलिजेंट, हार्डवर्किंग, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? कमिटेड, कॉन्सेंसियस, ये लिख रहा हूं. और इसको पढ़ के दूसरा खुश हो रहा है. वी हैव गॉट अ ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट. यू आर एडमिटेड इनटू अ ग्रेट यूनिवर्सिटी. Therefore, knowledge about everything is subjective. India is a democracy. Democracy होता क्या है? What is real? Real में क्या होता है? Every 5 years there is an election conducted. People are casting their vote in the election. Some people are primarily getting majority vote. ये सारे real है. ये reality को इकट्ठा समझने के लिए we are using a term called as democracy. Therefore, knowledge about everything is subjective. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Subjective क्यों? We use what? Terms, concepts, ideas to understand reality. 2-3 दिन से हम बकबक कर रहे हैं. Is structure real or structure is a concept? Structure, statics, dynamics, control, ये सारे टर्म कॉन्सेप्ट है कि रियलिटी है? हर काल पढ़ा रहा था. These are concepts. Using these concepts, we make sense of reality. तो स्टेट कुछ रियल नहीं होता है, डेमोक्रेसी रियल नहीं होता है. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? गुड बिहेवियर रियल नहीं होता है. व्हाट यू डू इज रियल. टू मेक सेंस ऑफ दैट वी डेवलप कॉन्सेप्ट्स. Therefore, concepts are subjective. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? So knowledge about everything is subjective. कौन बात करता है? Gmail. It is subjective because we gather knowledge about the reality by developing concepts and ideas. ठीक है? Look at the beauty of it. So sociology goes for subjective understanding of objective reality. Subjective understanding. तुम वोट कास्ट करते हो, पार्टी इलेक्शन में जीतता है. These are objective realities. To understand these objective realities, I am developing a subjective perception that is called as democracy, that is called as state, and so on. So conflict is what? Conflict is what? And conflict is primarily a concept or conflict is real? Conflict is a concept or conflict is real? Conflict is a concept. What is real? एक दूसरे का सिर फोड़ दिया, that is real. एक दूसरे को स्टैबिंग कर दिया, that is real. घर में आग लगा दिया, that is real. ये नहीं लिख रहा हूं, आग लगा दिया, चाकू मार दिया, समझ में? I am not writing that. I am saying two different religious communities or two different classes are engaged in conflict. Therefore, sociology looks at objective reality, but explain objective reality from subjective perspective. Therefore, sociology is subjective understanding of objective reality. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? 1 + 1 = 2. ये क्या है? कोई सब्जेक्टिविटी है इसमें? जो देखे हो वही लिखे हो. Understanding or not? So real is explained as real in the field of natural science, but in the domain of sociology, we see something as real, but develop concept to explain it. Therefore, sociology is subjective understanding of objective reality. Therefore, sociology can never be science. इसको science बनाएंगे तो क्या करेंगे पता है? I'll take your individual names. taking individual names, I'll be discussing everything you actually do. I'll be saying Astha is sitting in primarily 95 degree. She is carrying specs. Understanding not? She is focusing her attention on me. इसका कोई meaning बनता है? Rather to understand all your behavior, I will say, in online class, even in online class, students are more focused. They are more concentrating on the lecture. They are more primarily systematically taking down the notes. So therefore, online class is much more productive in comparison to offline classes. Online, offline class ये सारे क्या है? Concepts है. Real कौन है? आस्था रियल है, मनस्वी रियल है, सुशांत रियल है, शाश्वत रियल है. ये जो सारे बैठे हो तुम रियल हो. So I am not taking your real behavior into consideration. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, sociology looks at real, but explain real in terms of ideas and concept. Therefore, sociology deals with subjective understanding of objective reality. But positivism क्या बोलता है? It only gives importance on objective reality, ignoring subjectivity. So that is not acceptable. है समझ में? इसलिए जॉर्ज जिमेल is rejecting to positivism, saying that sociology goes for subjective understanding of objective reality. Therefore, it cannot be called as a science. आया समझ में? Yes or no? So therefore, concepts are helping us to understand the reality. Reality cannot be explained as reality in sociology. Therefore, sociology should give more importance on understanding. And understanding is impossible through development of ideas and concepts. ठीक है? So दो लाइन लिखो इधर. George Gimel advocates, दो लाइन लिखो, भूल जाओगे फिर. George Gimel advocates that sociology deals with the study of human behavior, culture, which cannot be quantified. ठीक है? Which cannot be objectively analyzed. Therefore, sociology develops concepts and ideas on the basis of which one can understand reality. ठीक है? अच्छा, एक चीज मेरे को बताओ, व्हाट इज द बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन? अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन का बीच में डिफरेंस क्या है? बोलो. If I am asking you to explain me this pen, क्या करोगे? हे, ध्यान से सुनो, गड़बड़ कर रहे हो सर. If I am asking you to explain me pen, क्या करोगे? हे, सारे गड़बड़ कर रहे हो, ध्यान से सुनो. If I am asking you to explain me this pen, so through your observation, you will say that pen is made out of primarily what? Steel and plastic. Fact है कि नहीं है? Yes or no? So pen is made of steel and plastic. Pen has got a cap that is giving cover to the refill. ठीक है? Then within pen there is a refill present. Refill carries ink, and there is a free flow of the ink through this refill. Therefore, pen writes. ये क्या हो गया? क्या हो गया है? Explanation हुआ कि understanding हुआ? Explanation. Therefore, scientific method or positivistic method see reality and explain the reality. ठीक है? Develop an understanding about the pen. एक एक करके बताओ. very good. Develop an understanding about the pen. A teacher always carries a pen along with him because he may be writing his thought into a sheet of paper as and when there is required. Understanding. Second, one is carrying the pen because maybe somebody has given this pen as a gift to him. Somebody important has given a pen to the person as a form of gift. She can tell this pen is primarily talking about the status of a person. Golden pen पहनेगा रखेगा status ये है. Ordinary pen रखेगा status ये है. So if you understand pen, you'll be getting wider view about pen or not. You can say pen is mightier than sword. Pen is primarily expressing mind in a sheet of paper. Pen is talking about emotional relationship between two persons. So many things can be spoken about pen. Therefore, understanding primarily, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Understanding pen means how this pen is relevant to the person in a particular context. Therefore, explanation is narrower, understanding is broader. Explanation explains facts. Understanding gives importance on many variables. Psychological, understand not? A reason for which I am holding this pen. Profession and pen. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Cost and pen. Status and pen. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, when you try to understand pen, you can be having a broader view about pen. So which sociology is better? Understanding is better or explanation is better? बोलो, बताओ मेरे को अभी. Explain mean this water. Explain mean this water. Explain. Water is packed in primarily bottle. Bottle is manufactured by this and this company. Cost of this bottle of water is this much. Water can quench your thirst. ये सारे हो जाएगा. Color is primarily blue. This color is white. Water is transparent. ये हो गया. Bakwas knowledge. Now understand this water through interpretation. Water saves life. If it is containing water of river Ganga, it is sacred to the Hindus. Using this water bottle, one can break the head of the other person. It can be used as a weapon. Water bottle is speaking about the status of Waziram. Water bottles are used because of Corona. People will not be taking water in the glass. Therefore, this water is being used. Kitna kind of knowledge aa gaya? Broader knowledge you get through understanding or not? Therefore, which kind of understanding, which kind of approach is better? Understanding approach or explanation approach? Explanation is positivism. Understanding is primarily what? Bolo, understanding is what? Batao. Bostian approach. Bostian means understanding. To interpret to understand, that is much better approach than observation and explain. Therefore, positivism goes for observation and explanation. It is having limitations. Therefore, all these people, they say that we have to understand the reality through interpretation. Is or no? So therefore, Bostian approach is primarily looking into the limits of positivism. Look at Max Weber. Max Weber considers that foundation to every reality, कोई भी reality देखो, capitalism you see, bureaucracy you look into, any reality you look into is a product of social action. Weber बोलता है, every reality is a product of social action. Every reality is a product of what? Social action. All of you are doing what? Manifesting action. From your action and my action, structure of sociology class is developed. ठीक है? The structure of class is a product of social action. Structure of bureaucracy is a product of social action. Structure of capitalism is a product of social action. Which action gives rise to capitalism? Which action gives rise to the growth of capitalism? Legal, rational, economic behavior of the people. Law-bound, rational, economic behavior gives rise to capitalism. What will give rise to democracy? Legal, rational, political, administrative action will be giving rise to bureaucracy. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Emotional, culture-bound, social action will be giving rise to religion. Therefore, social action is foundation to everything. Okay? Now, when an actor is manifesting action, action is driven by what? Very good. Action is driven by moods, motives, and values. कल पढ़ा था. Every action is driven by moods, motives, and values. ठीक है? Moods and motives are what? Moods and motives are psychological. Values are what? Cultural. Therefore, our action is influenced by our psychology and our culture. Yes or no? So Monday you are keeping fast. So your fast is important or meanings behind fasting is important? Meaning behind fast. Therefore, Weber tells meanings precede action. Meanings precede action. Therefore, we have to understand meanings to make sense of action. And meaning को study करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? You have to go for interpretation. Therefore, look at this thing. Action may be same, meanings are different. Some people are sitting in the class so that they can make notes. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And the notes will be sold in the market. So meaning is important. So therefore, if one is sitting in the class to write notes which will be sold in the market, and he is not able to write, क्या बोलेगा? हाय हाय करेगा कि नहीं करेगा? Teacher is not giving notes. This is not done. Understand not? So our interest is not gratified. Other is sitting in the class to understand, so that on the basis of understanding, one can write quality answer. So he or she will be telling, sir, don't dictate. If you are dictating, answer will be similar. I want to understand so that I can write better. So two students are sitting in front of me. Both of them are primarily sitting with full attention. But one needs notes, other doesn't need notes. Because motives are different. Positivism will not be able to study it. Positivism will say that 200 students are sitting in the class with full concentration, listening to the lecture. Therefore, positivism gives you part explanation of the truth or a better understanding of truth, full understanding of truth, part understanding of truth. Therefore, we can have a better understanding of truth if we interpret the meanings and motives behind the actions of the people. And that can be done only through what? I go close to you, speak to you, develop friendship with you, and ask you the question. अरे नोट्स क्यों चाहिए? तुम्हारा आंसर होगा, अरे दोस्त नहीं आया है, वो बोला नोट्स बनाने के लिए, तो दैट इज व्हाई आई एम राइटिंग नोट्स. दूसरा बोलेगा, आई एम सिटिंग हियर ओनली टू मेक नोट्स, मेरे को एग्जाम थोड़ी ना देना है. आई हैव टू पब्लिश द नोट्स एंड मेक मनी फ्रॉम आउट ऑफ इट. तीसरा बोलेगा, अरे नोट्स आई एम राइटिंग बिकॉज आई डोंट ट्रस्ट माई मेमोरी. Therefore, people are writing notes for purpose different or not, driven by different motives or not. Therefore, motive need to be studied, intent need to be studied, and that is only possible through interpretation. Therefore, what you see is the part of the truth. What you observe is only limited aspect of the truth. Therefore, we have to go beyond observation and we have to respect to the significance of interpretation. आया समझ में? Therefore, interpretation method or method of understanding. Understanding through what? Interpretation. Interpretation is hermeneutics and understanding is Vostiant. Therefore, Vostiant method is coming as a critique to which method? Positivistic method. It tells only by collecting data, only through observation, we can study truth in a mechanistic way, in a factual way, but not in a realistic way. Therefore, human behavior can be studied through interpretation. Interpretation and observation combined together can have a better understanding of reality. So therefore, sociology is not a science like natural science. Sociology is a primarily science on the basis of its own merit. Sociology का अलग type of science है. A science which can study facts and a science which is going for interpretation for better understanding of reality. क्या इंटरप्रेट करोगे? तीन चीज दिमाग में आया. क्या इंटरप्रेट करोगे? मोटिव्स, मीनिंग्स बिहाइंड एक्शन इंटरप्रेट करोगे. क्या इंटरप्रेट करोगे? कॉन्टेक्स्ट इन व्हिच द पीपल आर सिटिंग, दैट इज इसको इंटरप्रेट करोगे. और क्या इंटरप्रेट करोगे? कल्चर, हिस्ट्री को इंटरप्रेट करोगे. सो थ्री काइंड्स ऑफ इंटरप्रिटेशन. इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ मोटिव्स, इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ द सराउंडिंग. घर में बैठ के क्लास कर रहे हो, सराउंडिंग इज घर. मम्मी बुला रहे बेटा चाय लूं. So therefore focus of attention is disturbed because घर घर है, स्कूल स्कूल है. जब हम घर को स्कूल बनाते हैं, there are problems. So therefore interpret the context in which people are placed. And third is interpret their history, interpret their culture, interpret their customs, make sense of reality. So therefore interpretation and observation, when they are combined together, you can have a better understanding about reality. आया समझ में? Yes or no? Yes or no? So कौन कौन बोलते हैं? William Dithe, George Simmel, and Max Weber. They all belong to primarily which tradition? Vostian tradition. आया समझ में? समझ में आ गया पूरा? चलो आगे बढ़ो. Now let us get into primarily which approach? Anti-positivistic approach. ठीक है? इसको थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनो. फिर गड़बड़ कर रहे. Will observation contain what you see like sociology contains science? है क्या मीनिंग, क्या है इसका? So now let us go for primarily anti-positivistic approach. Anti-positivistic approach rejects to positivism outrightly. ठीक है? Critical theory जितना सारा पढ़ाया था तुमको, Habermas, Erich Fromm, Louis Althusser, Theodor Adorno, Horkheimer, all these people, they belong to critical theory. ठीक है? Let me tell you something about how this critical theory developed. You can have a better understanding of it. During 1940 to 1960, you find out there was a great transformation in the political history of Europe. 1940 to 1960 से तुम देखोगे, there was a great transformation in the political history of Europe. During this period, you will notice Nazism has made appearance. in Germany. Fascism developed in case of Italy. And in Soviet Russia, communist government has consolidated its presence. And democracy has become stronger in case of America and Europe. And the scholars during this period, some were primarily glorifying democracy, others were glorifying socialism. Understand not? Some people were also primarily endorsing to Nazism and fascism. So therefore, intellectuals were making comparison between which form of government is better as against which other form of government. Okay? American sociologists were glorifying democracy. Russian sociologists were greatly glorifying communism, saying that communism can establish equality. Understanding or not? Nazism, fascism were also primarily glorified by the scholars belonging to these countries. At this particular point of time, a group of intellectuals developed, pura sunlo history, a group of intellectuals developed. They borrowed ideas partly from Karl Marx, and partly they borrowed ideas from psychologists like Sigmund Freud. Naam sune ho, Sigmund Freud. So they partly borrowed ideas from Sigmund Freud, psychoanalytical theory, and partly borrowed ideas from Karl Marx and twisted it together. Okay? And on the basis of that, they looked into the political structure of democracy, communism, Nazism, and fascism. They advocated, they advocated that the external appearance of all the political systems are different. Okay? Nazism is glorifying primarily who? Nazis क्या बोलते हैं? Nazis बोलते हैं Germans are a superior race. They should be dominating over the world. Fascist बोलते हैं कि भाई देखो nationalism is more important. The leader of the country is representing nation. Whatever he is speaking, को समझ में आ रहा है? Leader of the nation, leader of the country is the leader of the nation. So he symbolizes national pride. Therefore, every nationalist must be accepting to the command of his leader. Mussolini का बात कर रहा हूं. So therefore, love your nation by falling in love with the state. So state and nation are synonymous. कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? अरे बेवकूफ को समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? स्टेट बोलता है भारत माता की जय करो, तुम जय करोगे to prove your nationalism. So therefore, leader of the state is the leader of the nation, and what he speaks, that is good for your nation, and you must have to follow it. Understanding or not? And communism tells by birth you are the member of the Communist Party. Therefore, who is your president is nothing, no one than primarily one of you. He loves you, he cares for you. Therefore, accept to his domain, accept to his domination. Democracy बोलता है क्या बात कर रहे हो? He is the leader because you elected him to be your leader. Therefore, his responsibility is to look into your well-being. तो इसीलिए जो 4 kind of states हैं, they are different. Ideology is different, form of governance is different. So therefore, political science is looking into different kinds of government. But critical theory comes and tells, be careful here, that state rules over you either by a kiss or by a kick. ठीक है? State rules over its citizens either by persuasion or by coercion. So therefore, domination of the state prevails everywhere, whether it is democracy or socialism or Nazism or fascism. It's state that conquers over our head and rules over our heart. Therefore, individuals are not free anywhere. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? ध्यान से सुनो पूरा इसको, पॉलिटिकल सोशियोलॉजी में यूज करोगे. State is the primarily necessary evil. So state is conquering over us, conquering over our head, understand not, and also ruling over our heart. So what we think, what we want, what we love, everything is determined by the will of the state. Therefore, every individual is enslaved to the call of the state, command of the state. ये दिखता नहीं है. We are not able to see it. कैसे सुनो इसको ध्यान से. You know, from school times till now, ठीक है? From the date you entered into the school till now, what you are studying? From the date of your entry to the school till now, what you are studying? When you for the first time opened the page of a book in the school, first page of the book was talking about preamble of Indian Constitution. ये preamble में क्या लिखा है? Democracy is a good system of governance. Equality is a virtue. Justice, liberty, fraternity, national flag, national anthem, all are primarily sacred. आज तक भी तुम वही पढ़ रहे हो. So therefore, democracy is best that you consider as best, or democracy is the best form of rule because that consciousness of best character of democracy is imprinted in your mind because you have read the books. किताब पढ़ के आनो तो स्कूल में भी ऐसे लिख रहे थे, राइट एन एसे ऑन डेमोक्रेसी इज द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नेंस, लिखे इसके ऊपर. यूपीएससी में भी वही क्वेश्चन आता है, डेमोक्रेसी इज द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नेंस. बट रशिया में स्कूल में ये ऐसे नहीं आएगा. रशिया में क्या आएगा? सोशलिज्म इज द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नेंस, राइट एन एसे ऑन दैट, एंड स्टूडेंट्स विल बी राइटिंग. Understanding or not? So therefore, be careful. So state is slowly conquering over our mind by educating us. So education is not a process by which we gain knowledge. Education is a process by which the ideology of state is injected into the mind of the masses. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Education is not a process by which you gather knowledge. Education is a process by which you get that knowledge what state wants to give you. The knowledge that state endorses, the knowledge that is good for state, the knowledge that is primarily making you what? A knowledge that is making you a confirmed citizen to the state. That kind of knowledge they will be giving you through education. Therefore, education is not a source of enlightenment. Education is designed by the state, enforced into your mind so that you think the way state want you to think. तो इसीलिए when government is changing, education policy is also changing. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Because old government wanted old kind of education so that you comply to the rule of the state. New government came, new kind of compliance is demanded from you. Therefore, old education will be replaced by new education. And education controls rebellion. Education teach you conformity. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? अरे एजुकेशन करता क्या है? एजुकेशन टीच यू कंफर्मिटी. कैसे? क्लासरूम में क्या करते हो? टीचर आता है पूरा भूल भाल लिख के जाता है बोर्ड में, यस मैम. डू योर होमवर्क टुमारो, यस मैम. अंडरस्टैंडिंग नॉट? ब्रिंग योर प्राइमरी बुक्स टू द क्लास, यस मैम. जिंदगी भर में यस मैम करते रहते हो. फिर आगे बड़े हो जाओगे, आईएएस बोलोगे. बॉस को क्या बोलोगे? यस सर. मिनिस्टर को यस 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 सर. तो ये तुम्हारा जो यस 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 सर बोल रहा जो सीखने का कल्चर है, दैट स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम वेयर? स्कूल. Therefore, school is socializing you to be that what state wants you to be. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? And जो educated नहीं होते हैं, those who don't get access to education, there is a danger. They may challenge to the power of the state. Therefore, to put these people into control, what state will do? What state will do? State will be exposing them to television. टेलीविजन में दिल्ली स्टेट दिखाई देगा. प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज गॉन देयर, प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज डन दिस, प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंट्रोड्यूस दिस प्रोग्राम. देखते 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 दे विल बी गेटिंग ए फील दैट विदाउट स्टेट लाइफ बिकम्स मीनिंगलेस. इतना 1000 कोटी इसके लिए दे दिए, इतना 1000 कोटी इसके लिए दे दिए. सो देन यू फाइंड आउट एवरीवेयर स्टेट इज विजिबल. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, we are educated. We go to school, or we are pushed into school. We are told to read newspaper. We are further told to primarily watch television, so that we become pliable consumers to the demand of the state. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? सो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ के, स्कूल जा के, समझ में आ रहा है कि भाषण सुन के अगस्त 15 कर करके हम बड़े हो गए. एंड जब बड़े होंगे तो फिर बोलो, when you grow up, we need job with the state. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? तो when we grow up in age, so state is primarily present everywhere. So education gave us knowledge to glorify state. News primarily told us how great state is doing. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, glory of state when present in our mind, with that colonized mind, we are getting ready to serve the state. As who? Teachers, doctors, engineers, IAS officers, we are paid by state. Accept to service conditions of the state. Then what we do? We sing song in the glory of state. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, state controls over us either by a kiss or by a kick. A kiss का बात हो रहा है. तो how we are educated, how we are used to newspaper, media, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Family tells us to go to school, gather knowledge through primarily what? Media, and we are primarily complying to the dictates of the state. And our conformity to state is becoming absolute when we are joining state-run organizations, getting salary from there. Those who are not getting or drawing their salary from the state, they are living on what बता रहे थे अभी? They are living on what? Concession, subsidies, benefits given to them by state. Rice available 2 rupees a kg. Manrega giving me sustenance. So some people are directly dependent on state. Other people are primarily educated. They are also dependent on the state because they are working for state. ठीक है? So if most of the people in a society comply to state because they are educated or because they are dependent on the state, few people will be left out, those will be criticizing to state. समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And those who are criticizing to state, इनका नाम क्या होगा? Naxalite, urban Naxals. नाम क्या होगा? Anti-nationals. So these anti-nationals will be primarily put in jail. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Or they will be proved by police officers. So therefore eliminate them, ignore them, isolate them, punish them. And rest others will be compliant. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Consumers to the ideology of the state. ठीक है? And Manasvi, it's not only state. State का भाई है. नाम क्या है? Corporates. Therefore, state and corporates, they primarily propagate same kind of ideology. Okay? State will be saying, yeah, monetization of public asset is highly important. And corporate will be saying, yes, that is highly important. Public assets you give me, I'll be giving revenue. And intellectuals will be writing article. How public assets are underutilized, their economic values are not appropriated. Time has come, we should be making best use of it. नाम क्या है? Chairman Niti Aayog. He will be batting in favor of primarily what? Monetization policy. So intellectuals will be voicing the voice of corporates. Corporates and intellectuals will be voicing with the voice of the state. And they constitute a hegemonistic domination, conquering over our head and heart. And that takes place in all societies. Nazi society, fascist society, communist society, and democratic society. Therefore, point pe aa jao. The fundamental responsibility of sociology is to eliminate false consciousness from their mind and to inject into their mind true knowledge, emancipatory knowledge. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, sociology should not be concerned with telling what is the size of the population of the country, how many people benefited from Manrega, how many people are benefiting from skill development, literacy program, how it is being increased, illiteracy, primarily what rate, how is it being increased. Yes, are a scientific, be careful. When you are calculating the increase in literacy rate, which method you are using? Scientific method. When you are talking about how successful Manrega program has been, which method you are using? Scientific method. Manrega in different states, how many people are coming above poverty line? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Entire document of economic survey, entire report of economic survey is based upon what? Scientific research. Therefore, conducting scientific research, state and corporates tell. Corporate tell how much of tax they're giving to state. Corporate tells how much of employment they have generated. Corporate tells how much of primarily what economic growth they are contributing to. Similarly, using this statistical data, government is telling how many vaccines are given to the people. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? How poverty rate is declining. So a science and scientific method are both supporting to corporate and state, giving an impression to the masses that they are the saviors of the people. Without them, people cannot survive, people cannot exist. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And this science and scientific method, they're hiding the truth or telling the truth. Or a science and scientific method, they're hiding the truth or telling the truth. Bolo. By saying that, okay, employment has increased, people are coming above poverty line, growth has taken place by 8%, 7%, ये सत्यानाश कर करके, they're hiding the truth or exploring the truth? Hiding the truth. Therefore, science and scientific method are protecting to the interest of corporates and protecting to the interest of state. And they're hiding truth from the common man. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So common man is primarily driven by false informations. Growth हो रहा है, employment बढ़ रहा है, food security आ गया, समझ में आ रहा है? Government is doing a great job. So therefore, science and scientific method is glorifying what? Government version of the truth, corporate version of the truth, but real truth is concealed. Therefore, sociologists should come and liberate minds of the masses from false consciousness. Sociology will be giving emancipatory knowledge to the people. Emancipatory समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Sociology should give this knowledge to the people. What they say, what data speaks, they are not only useless, they are more than useless. The hidden truth is state colonizing over the mind of the people, either by a kiss or by a kick. Understand this design of the state. Liberate yourself from the bondage of the state and corporates. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So once this emancipatory knowledge comes to the mind of the people, people will be questioning to state, they will be questioning to government, they will be questioning to corporate, and they'll go for civil society movement. They will go for movement, they will go for protest, they will be asking about rights. क्या right बोलेंगे? क्या right बोलेंगे? क्या right बोलेंगे? We want freedom back to Twitter. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? We want to have a society on the basis of our choice. हमको मनरेगा नहीं चाहिए, हमको freedom of speech चाहिए. People will come forward and tell criticizing to state is not criticizing to nation. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? So people will be vocal. They will be questioning to the role of the state. They will be asking Ambani this question: how in pandemic time your income is being multiplied when many people in the country, they are losing their jobs. So ये emancipatory knowledge will be questioning to corporate, will be questioning to government, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, and questioning to press. So that is what is primarily what? Emancipatory knowledge. Therefore, sociology should not be going for scientific method. Scientific method is useless. Scientific method is primarily promoting to whose interest? State interest and corporate interest. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? Therefore, science and scientific method are injecting false consciousness into our mind. Sociology should be giving us true consciousness. They'll be talking about the hidden agenda of state and the corporate and liberate their mind and bringing primarily what? People together to question to state, question to corporate, and to primarily go for mind independence. So sociology should be a knowledge-giving experience, not fact-giving discipline. आया समझ में? So therefore, science is not only useless, it is more than useless. Science never primarily what? Give you facts. Through these facts, science is propagating the views of the state and glorifying corporates. समझ में आया? Yes or no? Therefore, science and scientific method should be rejected by sociology. और एक बढ़िया चीज बोलते हैं, truth exists in 3 different forms. ठीक है? इधर है. Truth exists in 3 different forms or layers. ठीक है? One is objective knowledge. ठीक है? Objective knowledge like height of the mountain, size of the population, ठीक है? Climatic condition. Understanding or not? ये सारे on these themes we want which knowledge? Objective knowledge. What is the size of the population? What is the height of the mountain? How many layers are there under the rock? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं रहे? What is the depth of a river? ये सारे knowledge gather करने के लिए we have to go for objective assessment. So which method is required to understand, to gather knowledge about this? To study height of the mountain, to understand primarily what layers in the rock. So which knowledge you require? Scientific method. So scientific method will be giving us objective knowledge. Okay? To gather knowledge about history, culture, architecture, jurisprudence, okay? To understand history, to understand culture, to understand architecture, to understand art, to understand music, to understand law, okay? Can we go for this objective scientific inquiry? To understand history of India, should I go for scientific inquiry? बोलो, I have to go for what? कुछ बोल दो. To understand history, to understand culture. Very good. To understand history, to understand culture, to understand music, to understand art, to understand literature, I have to go for interpretation. Therefore, some truth can be explored through interpretation. Other truth can be explored through primarily scientific method. Okay? Third kind of knowledge is emancipatory knowledge. Emancipatory knowledge क्या है? People are oppressed, they are suppressed, they are deprived, they are marginalized, they are not able to understand it. Understand not? To understand this reality, people are exploited, they are deprived, they are marginalized, but they are not understanding it. Why they are not understanding it? Because they have gone to school. Because they are reading newspaper. Because they are watching television. तो इसीलिए उनका दिमाग में एक पर्दा पड़ा हुआ है. So therefore, for their emancipation, you require which kind of knowledge? Which kind of knowledge? Which kind of knowledge? एक word बोल दो, reflexive knowledge. So reflect on the reality that they fail to understand. Reflexive knowledge, reflect on that reality. So there are three kinds of knowledge. One is objective knowledge. Second is subjective or practical knowledge. And third is reflexive knowledge, emancipatory knowledge. Therefore, sociology should not be going for these two kinds of knowledge. तो किसको criticize कर रहा है? Sociology should not be going for positivism. And physics, chemistry, history, physics, chemistry, biology, they should be going for this approach. Objective knowledge. History, culture, jurisprudence should be going for what? Interpretation. But sociology should be going for which knowledge? Emancipatory knowledge or reflexive knowledge. Therefore, critical theory is contradicting to positivism and contradicting to बोलो, contradicting to, बताओ. अरे सेकंड अप्रोच अभी बताया तुमको, Bustian method, interpretation method. Therefore, they are rejecting interpretation method and they are rejecting scientific method and talking about which method? Emancipatory knowledge or reflexive knowledge. आया समझ में? So therefore, critical theory is a rejection to Bustian method on the one hand and positivistic method on the other. And they say sociology should be changing the life course of the people. Sociology should be exposing people to the hidden truth. Sociology will be making people ready to go for revolution and ask for justice, ask for equality. आया समझ में? Yes or no? So how many approaches so far? Positivism, non-positivism, and first kind of anti-positivism we have discussed is critical theory. ठीक है? Second kind of positivism, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? आ गया समझ में? Yes or no? Second macro theory I'll be discussing about is postmodern theory. David Harvey, Anthony Giddens, Derrida, फुको और भी बहुत सारे भी लोग हैं. बुदलियाड एक करके हैं, नॉम चॉम्स्की है. ठीक है, इतना नाम लिख लो. दे आर पोस्ट मॉडर्न स्कॉलर्स. ठीक है, पोस्ट मॉडर्न स्कॉलर्स एडवोकेट दैट साइंटिफिक मेथड is killing imagination. ठीक है, scientific method is primarily telling us to look at the truth in a very bounded manner. Okay? Only understand reality through facts. So when you are understanding reality only through facts, your understanding of the truth is mechanical, bounded. Okay? So therefore, scientific method is killing creativity, imagination, originality in sociological thinking. Okay? Creativity, originality, imagination in sociology are killed when you are going for scientific method. Okay? If you reject to scientific method, you can have a better understanding, empathetic understanding about social reality. Okay? If you reject scientific method, you can have an empathetic and better understanding of social life. इसको explain करूंगा मैं कैसे बता रहा है. One. पहला point क्या हुआ? Science and scientific method are killing what? Creativity, imagination. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Speculation, which are essence of sociological reality. It is giving a mechanistic, data-based explanation to social life, which is very, very, very lifeless. Understand not? It is a skeletal explanation to social life or lifeless explanation to social reality. Second, they are advocating that science and scientific method are greatly responsible for human sufferings and social pathos. Science and scientific method are greatly responsible for human sufferings and social pathos. ठीक है? समझ में नहीं आ रहा है? जितना सारे सोशल क्राइसिस है, सोशल टेंशन है, जितना सारे सोशल डिजॉर्डर है, all are the products of what? Science, technology and modernity. Therefore, science, scientific method, सब बहुत सारी चीजें, science, scientific method and technology are greatly responsible for human sufferings. Understanding it not? तीसरा चीज, they are outrightly rejecting too Western concept of enlightenment, Western conception of modernity. Therefore, they're deconstructing too our previous image about the benefit of modernity. They're going for deconstructionism. The knowledge we carried, that science can bring us happiness, science can bring us hope, scientific technology can bring qualitative change in our life, they dismiss it outrightly. Okay? So therefore, their approach is which approach? A deconstructional approach. Deconstruction means what? आज तक जो construction हुआ था knowledge, that science and technology can bring happiness in man's life. Science can find out cure to disease. Science can give us knowledge about stars and moons. Science can prolong our health, life. Science can give us primarily what? Knowledge to construct better buildings, earthquake resistance buildings. Science can give us new kind of knowledge. ये जितना सारे science and technology का glorification हुआ था आज तक, it's all being rejected by postmodern theory. And it's a beautiful analysis. So तीन चीज बताया. Postmodern theory is going for what? Deconstructionism. Constructing all primarily ideas which are constructed, modernity is good, technology good, science is good. They primarily dismiss it outrightly. And they say science and scientific method is giving us a mechanistic understanding about the truth, not the realistic understanding about the truth. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore they say that rejecting to scientific method, we can have a better understanding of reality. ठीक है? See, they advocate that modern science and technology, एक एक करके explain कर रहा हूं, modern science and technology have pushed us into a situation where we find out, मैं explain कर रहा हूं, फिर इसका बाद देखोगे, malls are mushrooming everywhere, shopping malls are mushrooming everywhere. ठीक है? Urbanization is spreading like planetary cancer. जहां भी जाओगे, you will be finding out concrete buildings are making appearance in the name of urban, in the name of modern. Uncollected garbage, understand not, are piled up at a given place. दिल्ली में तुम देखोगे थोड़ा सा वो आजादपुर का पीछे एक माउंटेन जैसे garbage is primarily collected. And overpopulated cities, because of modernity, because of urbanization, people have left their villages and all are assembling at one place that you call as urban center. Therefore, modernity has given rise to expansion of urbanism, and expansion of urbanism is characterized by overpopulated cities. इसीलिए देखो दिल्ली में क्या हुआ, cities are overpopulated. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And in these overpopulated cities, you find out shoppings, primarily malls are mushrooming everywhere, multi-storied buildings. And garbage is collected or uncollected and stored at one place. And all these things combined together are waiting for a holocaust. एक दिन थोड़ा सा धरती हिलेगा, सारे अंदर. देखो what is happening in case of Uttarakhand. Landslide every day. Why there is landslide? Because construction activities are so rapidly taking place. समझ में आ रहा है कि soil erosion is taking place in such a big way. Therefore, landslide is becoming a common phenomenon. जो तुम सारे GS में पढ़ रहे हो, cloud burst you are talking about. समझ में आ रहा है कि climate change you are talking about. All these are the products of what? Over modernization. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, is modernity bringing us happiness, or modernity is bringing tears and suffocation in their life? Therefore, if you look at modernity, we are waiting for a disaster to happen. Yes or no? Therefore, over territory, people are fighting war against each other. Afghanistan. Nations are ready. China and America. कब क्या होगा कुछ पता नहीं. Because China tells I am modern, America tells I am more modern than you. So who is more modern? That weapons will decide, and that will be leading to destruction. कल बता रहा था तुमको. Duplicate son बना दिया China. So that in future, if there is an energy crisis, I can generate energy from my son. ASU wala, not ASO wala. So therefore, that what was public is now becoming private. That is so possible because of stupid science and scientific experimentation. And least I say, more you know. Corona is also a product of science. Vaccination for corona is also a product of science. जिसका पास साइंस है वो कोरोना देगा, जिसका पास साइंस है कोरोना कंट्रोल करेगा. When you control corona, they will be primarily inventing something new, morona. Understanding or not? So new disease is a product of science, and to save yourself from the disease, you go for science. At the end of the day, you are enslaved to science. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, science, technology, modernity are not meant for human happiness. They are bringing tragedies, bringing sufferings, bringing suffocation to our everyday life. कितना बोलूं? जितना बोलूंगा तो उतना कम है. सुनो. Because of science and technology, I see today there is nothing private. Everything private has become public. आजकल आ रहा था, क्या आ रहा था? सर्वेलेंस. State in one primary context or the other is taking a note of what you are speaking, detailed content of it, when you are speaking. So therefore nothing is private anymore. एक जमाना था, whatever you are discussing within family, that was confined to family. But if in a good mood you are discussing something with the person you love most, that also big brothers are listening to. And they can say one day that what you are discussing, that is not prescribed by our culture. So under section such and such, subsection such and such, so you are arrested. अरे समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Understanding or not? So if you are discussing something personal, they will say it is not befitting to our culture and tradition. So since you are discussing something private in the language that is not appropriate, so this section is primarily enforced on you, go to Tihar jail. Bata. Understanding or not? Therefore, there is nothing private. जहां भी जाओगे सत्यानाश CCTV इधर भी लगा होगा. Therefore, I cannot speak what I want to speak. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So school class में आओ, there is CCTV. रास्ता में जाओ, there is CCTV. Market में जाओ, there is CCTV. Every step I take is under surveillance. Look at a man in state of nature. He was moving there wherever he wanted, talking to anything to his sweetheart, and there was no danger that others are primarily spying on him. More we are becoming modern, more we are losing our independence. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, modernity is not a happy experience. सिर्फ इतना नहीं है, कितना मॉडर्निटी का सुनोगे उतना दुखी हो जाओगे. You are sitting at your home. Market rings your calling bell. Press your calling bell. नाम क्या है? Amazon. This is my home. I want to take rest. I want to get rid of market. I want to listen to music. But market tells no. I am here. Therefore, market is entering into my living room. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no? So therefore, your private place is no longer private. Your private place is converted into a market. Therefore, कभी इंश्योरेंस बॉय आ जाता है, कभी बैंक वाला आ जाता है लोन देने के लिए, कभी जोमेटो वाला आ जाता है, कभी मिंत्रा, क्या नाम है, मिंत्रा वाला आ जाता है, कभी कोई ना कोई आता है. Your free time is not pure free time. Your free time is also converted into market time. और सुनोगे, when you go back home, you not you, me, when I go back home, I find out my children, they don't recognize to my presence at home. Because both of them, one is busy on his laptop, other is busy on her mobile telephone. So who took my children away from me? It is modernity, it is technology, it is market. Wife is gone for shopping, children are busy with their modern technology, and father is feeling isolated. Nobody is there to give a glass of water. Therefore, if today I have to bring a revolution against something, so I'll be saying, hi, what? Modernity, hi. So modernity is leading to loneliness. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And to kill that loneliness, they make us more dependent on technology. Facebook, Twitter. When you feel lonely, you want to see somebody. So therefore you make Facebook friendship. Again, dependent on technology. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore life has become technology centric. So you cannot do anything without technology. So that is the crisis of modernity. ठीक है, आगे. In modern society, कितना बोलो तुमको? In modern society, you will be finding out workers are packed and delivered into different destinations. IIT से वर्कर मैन्युफैक्चर होके आते हैं, IIM से वर्कर मैन्युफैक्चर होके आते हैं. They are packed. Delivery in America, meant for delivery in France, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So born in India, working in America, marrying to a France lady, ultimately dying in Africa. ये है modernity. समझ में आ रहा है? Disconnected from culture, disconnected from your tradition, moving everywhere. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And absolutely uprooted. Therefore, your generation is living life of a fast and furious generation. You are living a fast life. जो 50 साल में हम अचीव किए थे, you want to achieve that in at the age of 30. मर्सिडीज होना चाहिए at the age of 30. मकान होना चाहिए at the age of 35. हार्ट अटैक होना चाहिए at the age of 40. हुआ भी शुक्ला मॉडर्निटी. दादाजी 120 साल जिंदा रहते थे because he was not infected by modernity. Fast life, furious life, running here and there. His life was very calm. He was not chasing after time. Truly, he didn't have knowledge of time. He was living his life. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So, you know, the kind of discipline you are following, work time, launch time. अरे launch time क्या है? जब बुक करेगा तब launch है. Launch time, 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes, we have to finish food. Ultimately landed up with burger. Fast food. Understanding or not? And imagine Jaldadaji, after taking bath, sitting on the floor. Food is soft. Enjoying the look of the food, rainbow color, then cherishing the food. Taking 2 hours to finish the food. Then finishing his food, taking a comfortable sleep, no worries, then getting up. Life. Therefore, before modernity, people were living life. During modernity, we sacrifice life for the sake of material gain. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? इसलिए new disease, new pathologies, new crises, new problems we are facing today. समझ में आया? Therefore, is modernity a great experience? No. Therefore, science, technology, modernity are bringing pathos in our life, sufferings in our life. Understanding it not? But these sufferings are not spelled out by scientific method. Scientific method glorify. Kya glorify? How these new malls are generating employment for the people belonging to informal sector. How foreign direct investment is giving so much of wealth to country. How foreign remittance by the people of India working elsewhere is responsible for economic growth of the country. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So we are calculating how much of remittance money is coming to India. Foreign direct investment, how primarily generating employment for India. How informal sector is growing in the context of India. And बोलते poverty is being reduced. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, science and scientific method are concealing the truth or spelling out the truth. Concealing the truth. The adverse impact of modernity on human life is not glorified by science. और साइंस क्या सत्यानाश कर रहा है बताओ? साइंस क्या सत्यानाश कर रहा है? ये एक दिन साइंटिफिक रिपोर्ट आता है, साइंटिफिक लैबोरेटरी से रिपोर्ट आता है that there is a pesticide component present in Pepsi, Coca-Cola. I decide not to drink it. Next day, another scientific laboratory se report aata hai. Then a pesticide component in these things are too less than what is being reported earlier. Therefore, science is becoming enslaved to money. जिसका पास money है, उसका पास scientific laboratory will be giving data on the basis of corporate choice, on the basis of corporate primarily what? Interest. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, corporates are taking primarily what? Science as primarily their personal property. They're employing scientists, running scientific research center, publishing the report which is promoting to their own economic interest. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, scientific report are not primarily true. Scientific report is contradictory. Science is supporting to primarily corporate interest. and science, technology, and modernity has made our life miserable. समझ में आ रहा है? इसलिए पोस्ट मॉडर्न थ्योरी is primarily saying reflect on science, reflect on technology, reflect on modernity, reflect on what? Scientific method. So better to explain social reality in a narrative form, on the basis of experience, on the basis of your imagination, on the basis of your feeling, on the basis of your perception. ठीक है? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, sitting here, you can write about the pathos of Delhi, and that is a beautiful sociology. You can make sociology through photography. You can make sociology through poetry. You can make sociology through a cinema. You don't have to make sociology going through scientific method or collection of data. When you write a poetry to explain the poverty of the people in case of metropolitan city, when you take photograph about the poor and narrate about the plight of the poor, it will be more empathetic, more expressive than what mechanical scientific method can do. Therefore, sociology should be reflexive. Sociological method should be boundless. Sociological method should not be primarily restricting the imagination of the researcher. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? तो इसलिए आज का डेट में जो सोशियोलॉजिकल रिसर्च हो रहा है, nobody goes for data collection, hypothesis, testing hypothesis against the fact. So people are writing books on people's life. एक किताब है Sea of Puppies, पढ़े हो? Amitabh Ghosh. He's a sociologist. He's living with the people of Afghanistan. Opium cultivation, he looks into that. On the basis of that, he writes a book. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? God of small things. नाम सुने हो? These are beautiful sociological. Three Idiots जो है, चेतन, क्या नाम है? चेतन भगत. चेतन भगत जो लिखता है, understanding not, reflection about life and people. So for that you don't require primarily what? Scientific data, imagination. Understand not? Connection with the heart. So through this connection of heart, you can speak about the plight of the people. The beautiful example is Three Idiots. Through a movie, you are talking about what? How freedom of choice is taken away from the children of our generation. We are killing the creativity of the children. We want them to have a degree and to work for a corporate. Then primarily, we are giving them a chance to think independently, work independently, and work whatever they want to work. This is the crisis of modernity. Therefore, when Rajkumar Hirani is making a movie for making profit, as a sociologist, when I look at this movie, I find out this is a beautiful narration about the crisis of modernity. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, when I want to study the crisis of modernity, I can make a movie, I can write a novel, I can write a poetry, or I can go through photograph to explain the reality. Therefore, don't keep a sociologist bounded by theoretical framework and telling him to collect data and speak through facts. That will be death of sociology. Therefore, sociology should go for reflexivity, imagination, narratives. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Then going for scientific analysis. Yes or no? So therefore, critical theory is rejecting to positivism, and also postmodern theory rejecting to positivism. ठीक है? अभी लड़कियों का बात करेंगे. Feminist theory. सिमोन दो बुआ है, बहुत सारे लोग हैं, ठीक है। फेमिनिस्ट अप्रोच एज ए क्रिटिक टू पॉजिटिविस्टिक अप्रोच। ठीक है, लड़कियां सर बताओ मेरे को, फेमिनिस्ट अप्रोच क्या होता है? मैं फेमिनिस्ट थ्योरी तुमको नहीं पढ़ा रहा हूं। हाउ फेमिनिस्ट अप्रोच इज रिफ्लेक्टिंग एट पॉजिटिविज्म, इसका बात करेंगे, ठीक है। फेमिनिस्ट थ्योरी टेल्स दैट पॉजिटिविज्म गिव्स यू द फैक्ट व्हिच इज नॉट ट्रू, ठीक है। Positivism gives you the fact what is not true. You know, I'm giving you some examples. The state data will be giving you an impression that literacy rate of women is increasing. Women's participation in employment is also increasing. Women's participation in politics is also increasing. Fertility rate is greatly declining because of the use of modern birth control method. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Women's contribution to family is also substantively increasing. Therefore, women are having more say in the decision-making process of the family. And all these factors combined together is speaking about empowerment of women. And this empowerment has been so possible because of modern science, modern education, and proactive role undertaken by the state. ठीक है, तो state is taking proactive role to promote education of the children. State is making laws so that for women के लिए reservation is there in Panchayati Raj system. So state is taking proactive role. So therefore, women are enjoying better health. Women are primarily going for employment. Political participation is quite high, and all these factors combined together. आज भी बोलेंगे, women are now commissioned into armed force. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, women empowerment has taken place. ठीक है, understanding or not? ये बोलेगा, सार्थक बोल रहा है, positivism also tells us, you know, registered of domestic violence is increasing during pandemic. ठीक है, वो भी positivism बोल रहा है. ठीक है, what is the real truth? एक साइड में एम्पावरमेंट बोल रहा है, दूसरा साइड में पॉजिटिविज्म बोल रहा है. वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन इज इंक्रीजिंग, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? एंड वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन एट द प्लेस ऑफ वर्क, सेक्सुअल वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन इन पब्लिक प्लेस, ये भी पॉजिटिविज्म रिपोर्ट कर रहा है, मैं मना नहीं कर रहा. बट पॉजिटिविज्म नेवर स्पीक्स अबाउट व्हाई दिस वायलेंस. Positivism never speaks about this empowerment is a real empowerment or it is statistically explained empowerment. मैं दोनों का बात करूंगा, ठीक है. ये वायलेंस का बात किया, मैं पहले वायलेंस का बात करता हूं. Why there is violence against women? women का अगेंस्ट में वायलेंस क्यों? दो चीज बताता हूं. Violence against women is increasing because women are doing that what cultural situation dominated by men do not want them to do it. Violence इसीलिए है, you listen to me, otherwise I am going to primarily punish you. So there is an increased violence against women because educated women, progressive women, they take charge of their life, doing something what they want to do, putting on the dress they want to primarily put on, speak the way they want to speak, thinking that they are primarily protected in a democratic culture, protected by rules of law, protected by constitution. But hidden under this democracy, constitutionalism, rules of law, there is present the element of patriarchy. And patriarchy wants women to be submissive. Patriarchy wants women to accept the domination of men. Patriarchy wants women to put on the dress that men want them to put on. If you are not primarily accepting to that, then that results in violence. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore be careful. Feminist sociologists advocate what statistics gives you figure about primarily empowerment. That is all constructed truth. Real truth is something different. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Real truth क्या है? बोलते जाओ. Special jobs are created for women, so that you can collect data on that and glorify women are empowered. You consciously, deliberately create pink collar occupations where women are air hostess, men are mostly pilots. If by chance one woman becomes pilot, that becomes primarily frontline story of the newspaper. Women are empowered. In male-dominated army, if few women are entering, you are giving them certain kind of less important position. First line of the newspaper, the heading of the newspaper is women empowerment. If you have a women minister, but she is speechless, accepting the order of the primarily whom? Chief minister, great minister. You call this as the story of women empowerment. Women are school teachers because half the time they will be working in the school, other half the time they will be looking after their households. In family, they look after children. In school also, they look after children. So therefore, where there is caring, where there is affection, where there is love, there is the presence of women. Difference is, they are nurse in the hospital, air hostess in the airplane, teachers in the school, mother in the family. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? हाँ, 4 women judges in Supreme Court. अभी so many women are cabinet ministers, पता है मेरे को. So therefore, if you look into these things, you'll be finding out that ये जो है positivism, 4 women judges in Supreme Court. But who decides which kind of case will be going to whom? Chief Justice will decide. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So filing of cases will be done by the Chief Justice. 5 साल का बाद बताना मेरे को. Master of Roasters, ठीक है. So 5 साल का बताना मेरे को how many judgments they have given and how many judgments are landmark judgments. So therefore be careful. So if you look into this thing, feminist advocate, that women don't have control over their body. Understanding or not? Because patriarchy defines marriage as compulsory for women. Understanding or not? So once they marry, they are supposed to what? Deliver children. And once they deliver children, you'll be finding out they primarily go for which jobs? Less challenging jobs. Even in income tax, I have found out my students taking primarily less challenging posts when the child is small. Understanding or not? Less challenging jobs means where fields, this income tax rate wala nahi hai, other kind of challenges are nahi hai. So they go for primarily, departments that is dealing with salary, desk job. So therefore, men and women join into same vocation with same qualification. After 5-6 years down the line, because women are supposed to look after children, they take primarily less challenging jobs. And over a period of time, so they will be primarily less experienced in comparison to their male counterparts. Understanding or not? So therefore, authority they are enjoying will be much more less in comparison to men. Long story. When women are going for primarily which jobs? Peripheral jobs, like the receptionist in the hotel, clerks and accountants in the bank. When new technology is introduced, women are the first ones to lose their jobs. Since married women are primarily going for jobs and they cannot give much time because of family compulsion, they settle down for less wage. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Therefore, when married women are going for jobs, So first, because of marriage, so people don't give them job. If they get the job, they settle down for any salary that is being given to them. And if they're drawing some money, statisticians are sitting there, government agents are sitting there. They will say, women are educated, they are earning now, and they have become empowered. You primarily go for reservation for women, kahan pe? In Panchayat Raj institution. But women win elections. Men are proxy sarpanch. And that we speak about the empowerment of women. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, feminists are advocating that science and scientific method are concealing the real plight of women, powerlessness of women, vulnerability of women. They give a mechanical explanation about empowerment of women. Therefore, putting yourself into the position of woman, woman in the family, woman at place of work. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? If you yourself if you are putting yourself into the position of women and looking at their life story, you'll be finding out, क्या? Starting from the beginning of human civilization till contemporary times, two classes are present, two gender classes are present. One are men, other are women. Men control over power, men control over wealth, men control over status, and women are greatly subjected to what? Subservient position. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore marginalizes बहुत सारे केस है. On divorce, अमर्त्य सेन का स्टडी है. On divorce, the fortune of man is increasing by threefold, and the misfortune of women is multiplied. Because now she has a child, she has to work. Understanding or not? And since she is a single woman, so people will take advantage of her. She cannot work for overtime, cannot stay late in the office. Culture and family will be carrying opinion about her. Therefore, she will be more vulnerable to different kinds of violence. Income will be decreased, liability will be increased. So therefore, you'll be finding out divorce puts a woman into disadvantage, and that puts a man into a state of advantage. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? So therefore, feminist sociologist advocate, 3-4 पॉइंट जल्दी जल्दी बता देता हूं. Number 1, women are working in the household, but they are not paid for it. Household work. Audio is missing. नहीं, audio चल रहा है. हाँ. So they are working in household, but wage is not paid to them. They don't have any decision-making authority. Women don't have control over their body because patriarchy introducing the institution of marriage. बोलते जाओ. Science and technology is giving rise to termination of pregnancy, affecting to women's health. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? And most of the time, women are told to have one who are enjoying power, but in lieu of women, men are enjoying power. Therefore, powerlessness, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Marginalization, exploitation are the destiny of women, because wherever you go, you find out patriarchy is present. And that exploitation, that marginalization, that alienation, that social suffering is not spelled out anywhere through the scientific data. So whether you go to America or you go to Poland or you come to India or you go to sub-Saharan Africa, the plight of women is same. समझ में आ रहा है? Therefore, science and scientific method never explains the truth. Therefore, through reflexivity, we can understand what? Powerlessness of women. So therefore, critical theory, postmodern theory, feminist theory combined together give importance on the reflexive approach to understand reality, rejecting to scientific method. है समझ में? Yes or no? So तीनों को इकट्ठा करके बताओगे. Reflect on reality as a critique to modernity. Reflect on reality, looking at the hidden agenda of the state. Reflect on reality, reflecting on the role of patriarchy. Reflect on the role of patriarchy, feminism. Reflect on the role of modernity, postmodern theory. Reflect on the role of state, critical theory. समझ में आया? So therefore these three approaches are known as reflective approaches, rejecting to outrightly which theory? Positivism, and rejecting to interpretation theory. Therefore they're anti-positivistic approach.